How's it going, everybody? So around the 30th, it hit me about November 5th. I didn't have time to do a video on it. iPet Goat shows him rising up through a full moon, rising on the third day. You would think it would be November 3rd, but his eyes are still closed. And who we think is the future Antichristos was born on a total lunar eclipse. So would they stage the fake death also on a full moon? If it does take place on November 5th, remember the 5th of November, and when Marty knocked down the Twin Pine, leaving Lone Pine. So it went from Twin Pines Mall to Lone Pine Mall. So remember the 5th of November, V for Vendetta. The V is the divine feminine. It is the first letter of the female reproductive. VAG, right? First three letters. And Vanderbilt, that's what the peace sign is. It's just a V. Winston Churchill gave the V, and it was a V for victory. It wasn't a peace sign, was it? So Vanderbilt, the big V, is suddenly this amazing football team in the fake football world. Like all sports is fake. The UFC heavyweight, the UFC is the only sport that I really follow or enjoy because it's real, but that one was not. They definitely staged that. Um, the finger didn't even go in the right eye, it went more into the left eye, but they're making a big deal about the right eye because it's the right eye. So between Back to the Future's November 5th date, November 5th, 1955, and the gunpowder plot treason V for Vendetta thing, which I don't believe any of that stuff. Um, I forget the person's name. November 5th's a big deal. He would be rising on the third day on 11/7, which is the Bible verse where the beast rises from the pit. It is also day 311, 311 2020, which March 11th is opposite September 11th on a circular calendar. They're 6 months apart, 311 to 911. And we know that 9/11 was really about also Revelation 11:7. Because what rose up, One World Trade Tower, opened on 11/3, again with the CKKC coding. Remember the initials of CK or KC, the 311 coded on September 10th event, which was very FAKE and STAGED'd. They gave you the 311. So notice you have, and most countries write the date backwards from us. So you have 11/3, 2 days later, the full moon. 2 days later, you have day 311 of the year. The event on the 5th would be taking place on day 309, 86, 86th on day 309, 867, 5309. The Jenny song. So you would have 11/3, 2 days later, the full moon, 2 days later, 311, or 311, because most countries write it that way. You have 311, 2 days later, the full moon, 2 days later, 311 again. One's a date and one's the day number. Funny that in the movie Tenet, it was making time go backwards and forwards. So notice on 11:5, you go backwards, you get 11:3, or you go forward, you get 11:3. Tenet came out on September 3rd. September was once the seventh month, but we write it as 9/3. November was once the ninth month. Theoretically, it's 9/3. That's why they pushed those last four up, throwing in Julius Augustus or July and August, because October Octagon Octopus was once the eighth month. It's very interesting how they do all this. Um, it is a full moon. The event would take place with the moon in Taurus, and the rising day would then be moon in Gemini. He is a Gemini. That's in their satanic astrology world. What was the other item? Can't remember. Um, Let me think and see if there's one other item to share with y'all about why I think it's on this full moon, November 5th. I will tell you the George Floyd Day, it is 5 months, 11 days, so it's got the date coded to 11/5. Same with the months and days, 65 months, 11 days. You have the 511 again. 5 years, 5 months, 11 days, or 65 months, 11 days. So 511, 11/5, the date. Most countries write it 511. It's coded right into it. That's pretty interesting. Anyway, hang on just a quick second. All right, so actually put together a little bit of a prep. Maybe something else will pop in my head. But I had a date pulled up 6/10/2023. I don't remember what the date was, but it is 879 days on the 5th, 79 murder. I don't remember what it was. The rest of the prep, I do remember what everything is. Um, so once we get going. So on May 1st, 1968, that is your 2001 A Space Odyssey. It's 21,007, literally 007 to 11/5. 2001 A Space Odyssey. They have two other dates, April 2nd and April 3rd. The April 2nd to the rising day, 21,038. So you have your two 138. 138 is Donald Trump and Simple Gematria. Direct smash hit, we would call that. Direct smash hit. If you go to the third and run it to the fifth, 2135. Remember the 135th prime number is 761, which is the total verses in Revelation and Daniel, the 404 plus the 357. And that was coded in the Dark Knight, where they went from one license tag to the other, 135 to 761. We did a video on that. So unless it's the Bible study channel, that's in a video on this channel. Ay, ay, ay. You know what I need to do is start knocking these down too. Then you get into Spectre and Skyfall. The Spectre to the 11/5 date, that was the Writing on the Wall song. It's a palindrome 3663. And if you include both dates to the Rising Day, it's 3666. Well, isn't that special? Spectre's other date of 11/6, which is the day after 11/5. It's 9 years, 11 months, 30 days. So you have 9/11 fused with 11/3. It's also 119 months. 119 is Donald, which means world ruler. Hey, it's 11/13, y'all. So those are big deals. The Writing on the Wall song. What's interesting was the day the Lord, hold on, the day that 11/5 popped in my head, it wouldn't be the Lord that gave it to me to be real unless it comes true. But when the date did pop into my head, the Writing on the Wall, and we were also doing the book of Daniel in the Bible studies, covering all of that during that same time frame. If we go back to the 30th and we look at the Bible study channel, was it the 30th or the 29th? I don't remember. But you see Daniel's writing on the wall. That actually was yesterday's study, the study on the 30th. Yeah, it's Daniel 5. What chapter is Daniel's writing on the wall? Chapter 5. And we just started that, as you can see, Thursday, Daniel 5, 1 through 7. And when we run the date, to the 30th from the song, The Writing on the Wall by Sam Smith for the Spectre film is 3688. And on that Thursday, the 30th, my high school football team beat the big rival 36-0, 3688. 68 is his name in reverse reduction. It is also Antichrist in reverse reduction, so his name matches Antichrist. And 88 is his last name in simple gematria. So 3688, Sam Smith's writing on the wall when we began the Bible study and when the Lord may have given me the date. It certainly wouldn't have came from the Lord if it doesn't happen. So make sure we phrase that properly. No time to die to the rising day. It's 213 weeks dead even. 213 was the release date of the theme song Writing on the Wall in 2020. And you're like, well, why did the theme song come out in February of 2020, but the film didn't come out until October 8th, 2021? Well, because of the illness. Song was released, but then the illness, shut down the theaters. But all of that was part of the AI's plan. The AI is nothing more than the fallen angels in the technology. So they made sure the film was released on 88, October 8th. October was once the eighth month. No Time to Die, October 8th, release date. Duh, 88. Hey, it's 11/17, y'all. So it's a perfect 213 weeks from No Time to Die to the Rising Day, when it's like no time to die. Satan has to possess my body, and off we go. Remember, it's a body double clone that takes the hit. Shaking My Head Productions did a lot on cloning today, or in yesterday's video, whatever it was. And they definitely want you to know cloning is very real. They cloned a sheep in 1995. Sheep represents the church, but they've been cloning humans for a very long time. In the film The Prestige, they showed David Bowie's character Tesla, who I think is just a made-up character on their world stage, was cloning in the late 1800s. Writing on the wall, to the 7th, 2094. 2 days later, it's 2096, which is even Strong's Concordance. That's interesting. Somebody that goes by the name of Eve, on the eve of the rising, they will be 15,285 days. 285 is the address of One World Trade Tower, which represents the Antichrist rising. Hillary Clinton, birthday, or the birthday they give us, is the Donnie Darko release date, the Spectre release date, the Skyfall release date. She is 28502 days old. On the event day, 28,500 even. If you run me to October 26, 1947, it's a perfect 5002, 502. Remember, 500 is Antichrist in Strong's Concordance, G500, G for Greek. How far apart are we? 13 years, 8 months. Here's your 138. It's interesting. So you go to her, and she's 28502 days old on the rising day. On the rising day, I'm a perfect 23,500 days old. 500 is Antichrist. Remember, my first address was 404 Lime Street. I've shown you that many times on Google Maps, all of it. And 404 is the amount of verses in Revelation. My birthday is 7/6, 1961. A fusion of that is 761, which is the amount of verses in Daniel 357 plus Revelations 404. The end times, it's what I do at Trey Stokes Daily Bible Studies, along with telling you the truth about the New Testament, no free will. Hell is not eternal torment for humans. All right. And so let's go to the next one. Where would be the next one? V for Vendetta, December 11th, March 16th, March 17th. Notice it's 133 minutes, Revelation 13:3, coded. V for Vendetta, this March 17th date. Well, believe it or not, this 11/5 date transfer portals over to March 17th. Now, what's the chances of that? Do y'all remember the transfer portal of time? Sure, you do. Who doesn't remember that? Everybody remembers the transfer portal of time. The transfer portal of time, we discovered, was January 10th, 2022. If you run it to our 11/5 date, if you don't know about the transfer portal of time, you go backwards and forwards and it bounces off all these different full moons, eclipses. It's literally the film Tenet. And just so happened, Dr. Pepper was running their transfer portal commercials at this time. This was also the Monday of the College Football National Championship, where they were continuously running these Dr. Pepper transfer portal commercials. But the transfer portal of time, you went up 37 days, it landed on the snow full moon. You went back 37 days, it landed on the uh, solar eclipse. Every progression of 37. 37 is the prime number for the church. It's 12th prime number, 12 is number for the church. And you started going 37 progressions and started bouncing off all kinds of stuff. We did tremendous videos on that. We know that's the date. If you look at it, it's 1395 days to the fake death day, which would mean 1397 to the rising. So if you add the 1395 to the death day, there it is, November 5th. You go backwards, there it is, March 17th, 2018. It transfer portals this date of remember, the 5th of November just so happens to transfer a portal to the United States and United Kingdom release date of March 17th, 2006. And remember, the length is in the minutes 133. Revelation 13:3, the first time deadly wound is mentioned. I didn't know that when I was doing this video. I just now realized that. If you run it to the rising day, 7175, 175, Revelation 17:5 is where it's all capital letters, Mystery Babylon the Great. Guy Fawkes Day, 11/5, 1605 to 11/5, 2025 is 153,000 days, 392. What's interesting about 3392 is that's what you get when you multiply 53 times 64. I know that from personal ciphers. It's a perfect 420 years or 5,040 months. This is all very interesting. We'll get back to this 153 in a minute. Donnie Darko's release date on 10/26/2001 is a palindrome on the rising day 8778. It's also 288 months. It's also 2,404% of a common year. 2,404%, 404, Book of Revelation coded. Let's go to our next prepped items. When he said he had the illness in 2020 on October 2nd, which is when you spell out October 2nd, SECOND, October, CTOBBR, blah, blah, blah. It matches his name, Donald Trump, 138. When you spell out October 2nd, that's why everything's on October 2nd, the Donnie Darko date, all of that. So It's all about Donald's darkened right eye. So October 2nd, 2020, when he said he had that illness, he and his wife, if you run that to 11.5, it is 186 0 days. 86 means to eliminate. It's 1862 on the rising day. So you have 86 fused with 62. 602 is drop the zero. 602 is Revelation in Strong's Concordance. I happen to know only one person that ever went by the name Jenny. So the Jenny song, 8675309, I went ahead and ran her birthday, 2115, and sure enough has murder in the days. Murder in simple gematria is 79, 19,179 days to the um my son's passing, it's 330 days even. And on the rising day, it'd be 332. One of the biggest days in my life was Groundhog Day 2009. There was 332 days left in the year. When you run that, you get 332 times 2009. And that comes to 666,988. Fascinating. So the fact that my son's passing on the rising day is 332. My son died on Highway 121, which is Antichrist in simple gematria. He was heading back to Gainesville, which is Devil's Advocate University, representing the Antichrist. And he did have an apartment number that was also 121. So again, you know how I've got all these end time ciphers, my original address, uh, my birthday. So anybody close to me is tightly tied to the end times and so forth. That's just per the will of the Lord. If you run my son's birthday to the rising day, there's that 153 I told you to remember. 15,357 days. 357 is the amount of verses in the book of Daniel. So my son's date of birth, 10/22/83, is end times coded on 11/7. 15,357. 15357. I call those big deals. Lastly, his descent down the escalator, announcing his presidency. Hey, it's 11/3, y'all. There's that 36 again. 3,795 days, 79 right there in the heart of the number. 3,795 days to the murder date. Somebody exploded on me. Actually, the person that relates to the Groundhog Day 2009, that person exploded on me on 10/18/2024. They exploded on me for no reason, verbally. So, to the potential murder date from their explosion, 383 days. That's 38 fused with 83. 38 is murder. 83 is murder. 38 is also death, all in the four base ciphers. It's very interesting. The Shining, United States, 144 minutes, representing the church. The Shining 2, the event day, 16,602. 602 is Revelation and Strauss Concordance. It's right there. The book of Revelation is the 66th book of the Bible. It's all right there. 16602. You have 66 views with 602 on the event day of 11/5. Shining's other release date, you guessed it, October 2nd, 1980, 16464. Whoops. That was to the date of the when the Lord gave it to me. Oh, I'm sorry. When that this date popped in my head. It wasn't the Lord that gave it to me unless it actually ends up happening. 16470, 16472. No big deals there. And one more item I want to share with you real quick. Let me check volume. So from my son's memorial to this event day is 319 days, and I happen to sit next to somebody at my son's memorial. That's their birthday. So the person that sat next to me at my son's memorial, that's their birthday. And their number is, again, people close to me, um, especially me. Nobody's closer to me than me, but myself and then people close to me all are numerically tied to these end times. This person's number, um, if you run the 3 times 19 times 1998, you see the 11/3, opening of One World Trade Tower. You see the 138, which is his first and last name in simple gematria. You see the 88, which is his last name in simple gematria. You see the 86ing of him. You see the 38, which is murder, and 38 is also death in the 4 base ciphers. So also very interesting. That wraps up the prep for November 5th. I guess I'll start a playlist. I don't know if I'll do any more videos on it because it'll be here before you know it. And I don't know if there's any reason to do any more videos. You see what you see. Yes, of course, there's going to be plenty more stuff. And we've seen it all before. Nothing ever happened. So the Lord did not give me this November 5th date unless it ends up happening. But this is just what's in my head, like all these other dates have been when nothing has ever happened. All right, love you guys.